Heyo guys, welcome back. My name is HM and I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic, and if you're new here, the Swarm welcomes you. Guys, today I wanted to make kind of an interesting video, talking about the things I want to see in the Gen 3 reboot, because we are starting over again, unfortunately. All the things we've come to know and love are probably going to be gone, and I wanted to talk about some of the things I want to see back, and maybe, just maybe, that's what the community would want, I don't know. I just want to talk about it because I'm going to miss a lot of this stuff, and I just want to talk about all of the things that we have had in the year 2, or Gen 3, or 2 reboot, sheesh, the Gen 2 reboot, because there is a lot of stuff that was released that was really, really cool, and then some of the stuff kind of missed the mark, but I want to talk about that because there's a lot to actually dive into, and I'll give my thoughts on those things, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first things first. I'm going to start from the very beginning, because the beginning is super important. Ultras. I want Ultras to come back or stay. I don't think we've seen anything on Ultras. I know the new gimmick in the new season is going to be things that are really active and they do cool stuff, like spin around and things of the sort. I mean, we've even gotten an arena for that kind of thing. But I would love to see Ultras come back because they present some of the coolest designs you will probably ever see in Bakugan. They're very sculpted, they're very unique, and they all jump and flip. And I found that to be some of the most engaging ways to watch Bakugan do their thing. If I'm going to show anybody Bakugan, I'm going to show them like Lupithion, I'm going to show them Fangzor Ultra, I'm going to show them Pegatrix Ultra, Webum, like things that look like the creatures. And they do such cool things when they open, they do flips, we need Ultras, like seriously, they need to be a staple because that is what, to me, that's what made Bakugan Bakugan. This little creature just exploding and landing and it looks cool. Ultras were definitely the thing that I seen that made me want to get back into it, besides the TCG, rest in peace. But yeah, that is definitely one of those Bakugan that should be a mainstay, same with cores. Now core Bakugan are a mainstay. These are things that will definitely be around, whether they're called core Bakugan and are treated like core Bakugan. But these ones are very simple to open and close. They're very affordable at, like, I think they're like $8 now. They used to be like $7. But an Ultra was $9. I think it was below $10 back when it started, and it's gone up. But as we go further down the line, more affordable Bakugan are better because you want more people to be into the hobby, and Mythic Bakugan were very, very good. They were only $5, you can get them at 5 below, and if anybody asks, what should I do if I want to get into Bakugan? You go tell them to go buy some Mythics from 5 below, and you're set. Those things are very competitive, they're all pretty cool, I mean they're all Battle Planet designs, I love them. And it is just a great entryway into getting somebody into the TCG, especially when there was a card game. You could pay $15 for 3 Bakugan that are all going to be really good, and then you could buy like the structure decks, but the decks on the inside weren't always great. The later ones were pretty good, but definitely core Bakugan and Mythic Bakugan need to come back because that is the easiest way for somebody to choose their team of their liking. And that is a big part of a TCG, is having something that you are attached to. My first Bakugan was Mantonoid Ultra, Ventus Mantonoid Ultra. I seen it, I wanted it, I bought it, I made a deck around it. It wasn't great, but that was my Bakugan, and I loved it. So that is what is the most important thing if you're going on a personable level. Somebody's going to see something they want, and they will pick it up, and it's going to be great. Okay, next up, we have something out of left field, but I wanted to talk about it because there are fans of these. Decas, the big boys, the Giga Lads. These are the biggest Bakugan that you are going to get. And honestly, I've never been a giant fan. I've never been a big fan of Decas, but I can see the appeal because they allow for a much bigger design and a lot more detail. And honestly, I've always wanted to paint one of these, but I've never invested in them because they are kind of expensive. But they are big boys that open up and they do the same thing as a Bakugan. Kids probably find these super cool. I don't know if I would want a Deca, and I say I don't know if I would want, but I definitely would want a Deca that spins like a Beyblade. Could be a little dangerous though, that's why we didn't have Deca Ultras. Anyway, Decas are really cool. I'd honestly say I would want them to return, but they would take up some shelf space. But they have been such a staple in Bakugan's entire lifespan that it almost feels kind of wrong to not have them. So, Decas are really cool. They're very cool for collectors, and I would say, yeah, go for it. Bring it back. Okay, next up, I just want to talk about basic products, since we're still on Battle Planet. 3-packs. Yes, we want 3-packs. Any more Bakugan for more value is always better, so that goes alongside the, what was it in year 1? I think it was a 5-pack of Bakugan with 2 Ultras and 3 cores. For sure, something like that. I think that was it. I mean, then we had singles for cores and ultras. Yeah, I think that was it. But all those things are super mandatory. Anything that allows you to get more Bakugan for a better price is perfect. But yeah, scooting along to the next thing, this should carry over for every season, like 3-packs, singles, some kind of collections pack. I loved the gears from Armored Alliance and the gear packs. Gears are, honestly, I don't know if they're going to be a thing that will return because it is not a part of their design choice right now because of, spinning Bakugan. Their special attack is kind of just spinning, which is fine. But I like the gears in the sense of they just make the Bakugan look cool. They have like a weapon. So what you would do is you would essentially take a Bakugan from like Armored Alliance or Geogon Rising. They usually have these spots that will actually activate them. And your Bakugan just has a weapon. It doesn't do anything. It just makes them look cool. But I feel like that's the important part. Is like, Bakugan at the end of the day is a toy line. You want to make your toys look cooler? Give it a big cannon. Things of the sort like that. Swords, guns, swords and guns. I don't know. Just gear are super cool. But if we're talking about the peripherals and stuff, Baku gear really cool. They don't really do anything except look cool now. If we're talking about like things for TCG, there is going to be a card game for the Gen 3 reboot, but it isn't going to be as in-depth from what it seems as like the Bakugan Pro TCG. So Baku gear would come with a gear card, and you could attach them to your Bakugan in battle, and it would give them permanent boosts until they were destroyed or things of the sort. But I definitely think they're super cool. Kids, I loved them when I was little, so I can only imagine kids would love them even more if they were a good price and they were thrown in certain bundles that weren't specifically for gear. I mean, all that kind of sounds weird, but say you have like a 5-pack and there's just an extra gear thrown in there as an extra thing. So you get 5 Bakugan and a gear, which would be really cool. Instead of, I'm going to buy this single pack for a single gear for like $10. That's too steep. People probably won't end up buying them, and they'll probably sit on shelves. But seriously, gear are cool. I wanted to talk about those because they were one of my personal favorites back in the olden days and now. So, super cool. So I'm going to breeze over this one just a little quick because I feel like it kind of goes without saying. I want fusions back, but we're kind of getting them in a weird way with the bind system. So, the bind system is going to combine 2 Bakugan together, and I'm assuming you could interchange all of their parts however you want for like the bottom and the top half. So, in a way, fusions are back, in a different way. So that's cool. Next up, I want to talk about something that came out a little bit further down the line. And I guess they don't need to come back because there is no TCG. And unfortunately, both of them kind of go hand in hand. That would be Geogon and Nanogan, because these were specifically peripherals for the TCG. You could probably still do Geogon, but they wouldn't. Same with Baku gear. They probably won't have any practical use in a gameplay format unless they really start trying to hammer that home. But you could still make rectangles and drums and anything of different shapes into Bakugan, which is cool. But I don't know if people are going to buy them. That's the weird thing. Like, I don't know how. Every store I have gone to, Geogon have been sitting there because they're not a very popular pick for the TCG, and they're also just not Bakugan. People like to roll them and watch them pop open, and not drop them. But I will say, Geogon had some really, really cool designs. Like, I have, let's see, I got a Baba Drill here. This one's kind of funky because it's a combiner piece, but it's a Mandrill, which is really cool. One of my personal favorites is Talon. And then you've got my, probably, I don't know if I'd say it's my complete favorite, but Swarmer? Swarmer is definitely up there for obvious reasons. We are the Swarm here, and I really do like it. It reminds me of a Pokemon. It reminds me of Vikavolt, or Vikavolt, however you pronounce it. But Geogon are super cool. Again, they take up shelf space. But as long as it's... I just hope in this reboot that we get just as cool things outside of normal Bakugan, because I was always skeptical about, oh boy, they're bringing Gear back. What is that going to do for the TCG? Oh, they're bringing back Geogon. Well, they're kind of like traps, but they're really not. Anyway, that's another thing to talk about. Geogon would be really cool. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I would be okay with it. Nanogan, though. I love these things for the TCG. I do not love them for their figures. So, I think, unfortunately, Nanogan are completely kaput. I don't think they're any kind of interesting. They're just little lads that open up, and they look like little lads. So, I think it's safe to say that those won't be coming back because their only purpose was to be small and to provide TCG support. Gonna miss that, but I do think it goes without saying that we want things that have more interesting gimmicks, and I have to give credit to Nanogan. I was skeptical about them, but they added such a huge layer of depth to the gameplay and gave you more value for specific things to play around, and I'm gonna miss that. Nanogan really kind of almost finalized what Bakugan was supposed to be. You had cores, you got bonuses for landing on the cores from your Bakugan. Then it would go further, and whatever those cores were that you were holding for the Nanogan gave you more bonuses. So you had something to ramp up into that wasn't just your deck, and I love that. So I'm gonna miss that. Rest in peace, Nanogan, and rest in peace, Bakugan Pro. Alright, now we're really cruising down the line. Come Geogon Rising... Actually, no, Evolutions. It was Evolutions. Come Evolutions, we got something amazing. And that was our capstone toys. The Genesis Collection. And the Genesis Collection is still, by far, my favorite set. And that's because it introduced Light Up Bakugan. And I am super sad that we didn't get... I can't even say we didn't get more of these because we did. But they weren't nearly as cool, in my opinion. This has a rotating light in it that chooses its faction for the battle. It doesn't work for the TCG, from what I've been told. But I love the way they look. It looks super awesome, and the light it strobes very nicely, and it gives you a color. For the Novas, they just open, and they're just a flat color, and that's it. They don't even, like, fade on. And while I think the idea is awesome, I think it could have been executed better. And I'm kind of hoping that Novas return in some fashion. They don't need to be called Novas. I just like the Light Up Bakugan, especially like Genesis Drago and Genesis Wrath that do stuff like this. We had Bakugan back in the original series that lit up and made noise. So if that's anything to go by, I think they could do some really cool stuff with Light Up Bakugan. Alright, now we are to one of my personal favorite things that came from Evolutions, and that is Platinums. Now, it goes without saying that I really like the heavy metal feel of the Platinums, and I loved that they all had translucent plastics. Do I think translucents should come back? Absolutely! They are hands down one of my favorite things to collect. They just look super cool on a shelf. And they're very pretty. I love the color choices that kind of came as a result for many of these Platinums. And I want to see that come back, and I already know that it is coming back. So we're going to have some translucent stuff. I think they're going to be chases like Elementals, though, which is another thing that I think should come back, which it is, so I'm not going to talk about it. Diamonds are obviously coming back, too, so not going to talk about that. But seriously, Platinums are so cool because they take a core Bakugan, and then they make it metal, most of the time. And that, to me, is awesome. Do I wish we could have seen some Platinum Ultras? Yeah, I would have loved to have seen my boy Maxitar with some metal horns or something, but that pretty much is one of the things that I would love to see is Platinums to come back in some fashion, but I could see that maybe being an issue with the combining parts or the spinning parts, because at that point, if it's metal, it's just a Beyblade. But anyway, I do think that they should come back in some regard. Again, this video is just like what I would want to see, and not necessarily what needs to happen. I just need something that pulls me in. And that is really what's important to me going forward, is what's going to pull me in. What's going to be the hook. Because the TCG and the Ultras and the Hunt and the Chase was what pulled me in. And right now, all I've got that I've seen is just the Hunt. And that's great, but that costs money. And money is very scarce for me right now. So I would love to see something to come back that I just was like, I need to have it. And right now, I have not seen anything that I'm like, I need to have it. I will be trying to pick up stuff, and we're going to check it out. It's going to be interesting. But as far as that goes, I think we need to just see some more things. So I think I've hit everything I wanted to talk about. We had Geogon, we had Gear, we had Ultras, we had Cores, we had Light Up Bakugan, we had Geogon, we had Nanogan. If there was anything else, I can't really remember what it would have been, but we had arenas, we talked about products. Arenas are always cool. This new arena that we've seen is kind of neat, but it only works for the spinning Bakugan from what it seems. I mean, you could probably make it work, but yeah, Bakugan is in a very interesting state right now, and it burns me up that I'm sitting around and not talking about it, because it does mean a lot to me, and this is what the channel is, its basis is Bakugan, and I just haven't really felt like talking about it, because I'm just not excited. The TCG's over, the thing that I love talking about every time I'm doing an unboxing, I just don't have much to talk about. With the spinning Bakugan and the things that are going to split, I'm going to open them up, I'm going to learn what the cards are talking about, hopefully, and give you some insights, but I don't think it's going to last as long as... Sheesh, you'll be lucky if the videos are like 5 or 6 minutes long. Maybe if it's spinning, I'll be able to show it off a little bit. I don't have anything to put it in. I don't know if I'm buying the arena, but that is another topic for another day. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to become one with the Swarm, please subscribe. It would mean the world to me. We're on our way to 1,000 subs, which is crazy to think about. Our viewer hours have been dropping substantially because Bakugan has been going down the pooper. And, yeah, it's been really hard keeping up. But I still want to talk about it. I need to treat this more like a hobby now because I don't know where we're going after this. And, again, it always was a hobby, but it would have been nice for all the work that I put in to have been recognized by Spin Master or anything at that point. I mean, I have great friends that I've met in this community. You guys are all awesome. You know who you are. And all my subscribers that leave comments and stuff, I appreciate you. You guys have been awesome. Hopefully we can keep doing this for a little bit longer. But as for today, that's going to end off this video. I've talked about what I wanted to, and I guess I'll talk to you in the next one. See ya.